We're going great guns. Oh, hey, now we're live.
We're live now.
Alan came and now we're live.
We are live.
Now get ready for Watching Wyrd, your ultimate destination for mind-bending movie reviews and recommendations. From hidden gems to cult classics, we explore it all. Hosted by storytellers and cinephils Alan Gamboa, Scott Baker, Rich Restucci, and Hadley Thorne, with a special shout-out to Landa Saldana and Alan Lasseter for their incredible support that help us keep the lights on at Wyrd. Now grab your Coke, popcorn, and tinfoil hat, and let's get weird.
Let's get weird.
Hi.
This was a
No,
fun.
we're already weird.
What'd y'all think?
Yeah, I liked all these movies.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
I wish Scott could have
It
been
was.
here because I know this is right up his alley too.
I know, right?
Art of the Con is our episode title.
Yeah.
Are you doing Catch Me If You Can?
I'm going to do the Sting.
I thought I was going to do Ocean's 11.
Are you okay? I'll do Catch Me If You Can then.
I thought you said something about Catch Me With You. Can't even say it.
Wait. Yeah, and then I said, well, hey,
Yolanda.
Ocean's 11, but Catch Me If You Can is fine. Fine, I'll do Catch Me If You Can. That I can live with that. Definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
I like it.
Who's doing the Gorge? Oh, wait a minute, wrong
I
show.
haven't watched
Never
it yet, so we're not doing it.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
No.
You got to see it.
I'm telling y'all, I've been sleeping a lot. Like, a lot.
That's good. Wish I could do
No,
that.
it's not good. It's like too much sleeping.
Yeah.
Not enough resting.
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
speaking of which,
when you watch it, we'll talk about it.
yeah. Well, we can do a show on it too. And if you haven't seen Wolfman, I recommend that as well. Different type
Really?
of movie. Yeah.
See, I hear mixed reviews on that.
So that film is like a true horror movie. It's not the greatest movie in the world, but it's definitely worth seeing. You should watch it.
Okay.
Especially, because you're a movie guy. So it's the creature, the werewolf is kind of lame. I mean, it's okay. It's Wolfman-esque. It's not like a lycanthrope type of thing that you're
Right.
thinking, like with the big hulking. He has claws and like Wolfman face and stuff like that, but it's not. It's cool. I'll give you that, but it's not.
He
like,
doesn't choke people. He doesn't choke people.
No. It's like I'm trying to think. There's not a lot of death in this movie. I think
wow.
only 3 people die. So 1, 2, 3, maybe. Yeah. Linda says she watched it, but she'll behave. Ugh.
All right.
Oh, good lord.
Well, what you got, boss?
All right, well, I'll just kick it off. Ocean's 11
Okay. Excuse me.
is a cinematic cocktail shaken, not stirred, with a generous pour of charisma, a splash of wit, and a twist of suspense.
Wow.
George Clooney stars as the effortlessly suave Danny Ocean, leading a rat pack for the new millennium with a crew of specialists as colorful as a Vegas casino's neon lights. How awesome is that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
This movie isn't just a heist. It is chaos in dance form. It's a deception with every step, and it is so well choreographed for the first viewing. I just don't know how to say it. It's a great film. And so anyway, let's rewind. So the target of this film, this is, what would you say, the Bellagio.
The MGM.
So that's the only one. I'm not a big gambler. I'm not a big Vegas fan. So anyway, long story short, George Clooney, fresh out of the pen, has been sitting stewing because his wife has left him for the ice cold Terry Benedict casino entrepreneur, played by the menacingly charming Andy Garcia. And it's kind of like this cat and mouse game between whether he's doing it for the money or he's doing it for revenge. But basically, it's personal. Benedict is dating Danny's ex-wife, Tess, played by the beautiful Julia Roberts, and she is stunning in this movie. I think it's probably the best I've ever seen her look. And there's just this romantic rivalry between the two of them. It's not really played. The real dynamic about this show is the cast and the way that they come together. And it's just each of this group of con men have a unique flavor, and that just adds something to the mix. You've got Brad Pitt playing Rusty, and he's cool and he's collected, and he's just the right hand man. And man, if anyone has an art to eating in a movie, it is Brad Pitt. Every scene, he's eating something different, and he's just so good at it. I don't know. I just want to watch him eat. Then you got Matt Damon playing Linus, kind of. I don't want to say undershadow, but it's a eager, ambitious rookie type character. You've got Don Cheadle as Basher, this British explosive expert, and I love Don Cheadle, by the way. And who else? Casey Affleck's in it. And I'm gonna tell y'all something funny. This is a funny bit here for me. I have seen this movie numerous times, and until last night, I thought they were calling them the Moron Twins. But it's the Mormon Twins. So, and it's Casey Affleck, and it is, gosh, what's his name? It's
Scott Conn.
Yeah, and that is James Caan's son, who I only recently found out. Anyway, so this cast just really brings it together. And who is the older gentleman? He's got Elliot Gould playing this the money man, and there's an older, is it Rob?
Carl Reiner. Carl Reiner.
Paul Ryder. I was close.
Carl Reiner.
And it's just slick. It's stylish. It captures the glitz and glamour of Vegas, but it's fun. And I think this was like an homage to a 1960 Rat Pack movie. And it was sharp and witty, and it's just great. Bernie Mac's in it, and oh my God, he's hilarious. The scene with him and Matt Damon was just great. This is a fun movie to watch. It is. I won't say it was as shiny as it was a couple of times I saw it, but it's still a fun watch. It's a celebration of charm, intelligence, and it's the art of the con. So if you want something fun to watch, grab your popcorn, dim the lights, get ready to get swept away, and just kind of enjoy George Clooney doing what George Clooney does, which is, be suave and be debonair and make the ladies swoon and have a good time with his guy pals, playing tricks and telling jokes.
I like being sucked away. That's definitely. I love this movie. Are you done? Are you done, Haley, or do you have any more to throw on there?
That's it. That's all I got.
I love this movie. It's a movie that catches you at the beginning and just takes you all the way through on a ride. All the actors are perfect in their parts. The late Bernie Mac, he was great in this as Frank Catton, the casino dealer guy. A lot of that scene with him and Matt Damon being pretending to be the gaming commissioner guy, and him going into a racist rant. A lot of that was ad lib, and that was hilarious. I mean, just and Matt Damon played that character perfect. Andy Garcia, always good to see Andy Garcia and something. He plays it great here. Elliot Gould's one of my favorites from the 70s. And it's good. And Carl Reiner, like you were talking about, the older guy. He directed Oh God. And he's Rob Reiner's dad. But he did a lot of TV in the 70s, a lot of stuff like that. And it's great to see him in it. I don't know if he's in the sequel, because I know he passed away somewhere around that time. But this is just a fun movie. It's a great caper flicks. It's got to be one of the best caper flicks.
Go sit down. I'm sorry.
Huh?
Dogs.
Dogs.
You just the dogs. They're going down the hall. They're not supposed to be down there.
Imagine that. This is just a fun movie. It just draws you in, and you're wondering what exactly is going on. Even though you're in on part of it, but you're not like a good caper flick. You're not in on all of it, and then it's revealed to you because the caper's played on you, the viewer, not Andy Garcia. It's played on all of us. It's like, oh, that's what happens. And Brad Pitt breaks out a little bit of his officer from Inglorious Bastards in the part when the SWAT team shows up. You listen to that voice, and it's like, okay, all right, they're hunting Nazis, but I'm glad we picked this one this week because this is always a fun watch. I hadn't seen it in a few years. I can't remember the sequels. I think the sequels were okay. But this is like one of Premiere Magazine's or whatever, movie magazine's 500 top movies, and it deserves it. I think it's one you should see.
So one of the things that I didn't mention, surprisingly, y'all know I love a good music score, and Elvis's "Little Less Conversation." I love that song. It sets the theme to this movie. It was a great pick, and the soundtrack to this film is just as slick and fun as the movie itself. But more importantly, Alan, let me ask you this:
Yeah.
Who did you think was the most instrumental person on the con man team?
Oh, I think it was Matt Damon without him really knowing it.
Yeah.
He really didn't know it till it was twisted out on him.
Rich, what about you? Who do you think?
Tough call. I got to go with Brad Pitt. I think Brad Pitt knew everything. Everything he was allowed to know, and I think he is, of course, Danny Ocean. He was part of the planning, but I think Brad Pitt was the guy who pulled everybody together, and he sort of set the con, even though it was Danny's idea. So I got to go with Brad Pitt on that one.
I got to tell you, one part that I found really cool, the beginning with Danny Ocean was before the parole board, how they made him look. Haven't been to several parole hearings and been around inmates. He perfectly looked like someone that was doing time. The way they did his hair was just perfect for an inmate. I mean, that was just a little thing that Tina and I were watching it, and she's like, "Hey, look at that," and I'm like, "Yeah, you're right." So that was just a little thing, And this is that guy that made this movie is the one that did Sex, Lies, and Videotapes, right?
I think so.
Soderbergh.
Yeah, Steven Soderbergh.
Yeah. So I think this is his best flick to date, in my opinion.
Yeah, he certainly has the accolades for it.
So, Rich, and I'm going to shoot over to you and ask you this because we haven't heard from you yet. But the caper was so incredibly complex.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think was? What do you think made it so fun to watch it unfold?
Because you know how it's going to end. But you don't. So you know that somebody's getting conned. And generally in movies like this and The Sting, it's the viewer that's getting conned the most because there's some small part that they've left out that ties everything in together. And you get caper films like this, like The Sting. Catch Me If You Can is another one, although I wouldn't really call that a caper film. Kind of. The Italian Job, there's another one. There's so many. Now You See Me, that's another one too. That's a great one.
Yeah.
And I think that when you are getting conned along with the person who's getting conned, you can't see that you're getting conned, but you also know that's excuse me, that's not going to end the way you think it's going to end, even though you know how it's going to end. So it's really twisted, and they take all those twists and they put them together in a way that's really entertaining, and that's a good caper film is when they do exactly that. and you're like, oh, we got here, but not the way I thought we were going to get here. So the first time I saw this movie, if you haven't seen this movie, shame on you. The first time I saw this movie, I knew what the SWAT van. I knew all of that. That was easy to see. But I was talking with people I was with, and they had no idea. They were like, "No, that was a surprise to me." And there were other things that were surprises to me. But yeah, this is a film that I've seen, like you, I've seen numerous times, and I had seen the original. This is actually a remake, and I had seen the original, and it honestly can't hold a candle to this. This is just so far and away better, and more entertaining, and more modern, that it was worth every second that I spent watching this film, and I will watch it again. It was that good.
Well, one of the things that I found interesting was how this film blends humor with the tension. And in some ways, I was thinking to myself, oh, this movie would have paired so good with is Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Yeah.
And do y'all see that? I think that could be a fun movie night there. So if you're out there and you hadn't seen it, watch those two together and tell me what you think. But
Well, they wanted Lenny James to play Don Cheadle's part, but I don't know why he wasn't. They didn't get him, but he was
who is
considered.
that? For us people who don't know stuff like you.
Yeah, Lenny.
Who's Lenny James?
Who's Lenny James?
Yeah.
Oh, Morgan
It's
from
Morgan
Fear the
from
Walking
Walking
Dead.
Dead.
Sorry.
Oh,
Walking Dead.
Okay.
Morgan. Sorry.
That would have been.
He actually has a real British accent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
A real good one. Oh, I got something for you. I got something for Hadley real quick before I forget. Craig's not here. He would have enjoyed this. But Mark Wahlberg was going to do the Matt Damon role, but then he had scheduling problems or something.
Oh, I don't think it would have worked. I don't think it would have worked.
No, you're right.
And I'm going to say this because I told y'all earlier with the Matt Damon role is very understated. And I think this is around the time that he was actually doing the Jason Bourne movies, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe you're right.
So it was just kind of like interesting to see him play this kind of passive Linus, the son of the legend kind of character. Anyway.
They all took pay cuts. To be in the movie.
Yeah.
It only had an $85 million budget. So amazing.
Oh, he got here just as you start talking about Wahlberg. There's Craig.
Yeah, Craig showed up. He heard his Wahlberg alarm went off.
I know.
They're talking about Marky Mark. I gotta be there.
He's like,
Is that a rocket?
Seeger, what is that? Seeger? It's Wahlberg.
Did you hear the house rattle? Was it a rocket? They're testing rockets tonight. So if y'all hear something in the background, that's what that is.
Oh wow. No, this is a good pick. Did you pick this one, Hadley, for the list?
This was my pick, and then I try and pair them with movies that no one talks about. So this was my pick for the year.
No, good pick.
Yeah, I've been wanting to rewatch it. I love this movie, and I will say that it didn't have the magic it had probably when it first came out, but it's still so good. It's just to watch. I love George Clooney and Brad Pitt and their brofair or whatever you want to call it. What is it? Bromance. Their bromance. I love it.
Soderbergh said he was a big fan of the Magnificent Seven and the way they communicated without saying anything. And he wanted to put that in this movie, and he does successfully. Yeah. Him and Pitt. Yeah. He's like, should we get? I forgot what he said. Should we get one more of those? And Brad Pitt's just sitting there watching the TV, and he goes, "Yeah." He's like, "We should get what Clooney answers for Pitt. Yeah, one more. We should do one more or whatever. Add one more. Make it 11 instead of 10 guys."
The scene with the grease man when they go to the Barnum and Bailey's and they're watching, and he's like, "Do you think he can do it?" And Brad Pitt doesn't say anything. He just, by the way he does his body language.
Yeah,
and
those parts are good.
Brad Pitt is so good. I mean,
he's a good actor.
Watching eat, and he's like, eating ice cream, eating yogurt, whatever the heck he's eating all through this movie, eating a hamburger. But I mean, this is one of those, like, every time Brad Pitt eats, we should take a shot, you know?
Right.
You know who
That's
else
all
was good in
ad-lib
this was
too.
Bernie
That
Mac.
was his eating was all ad-libbed.
Was it?
Yeah, he wanted his character to eat throughout the movie. So, he probably went home and ran 10 miles and did 1,000 sit-ups after, each day of filming because, he can't eat a cheeseburger like we do.
Magical. He's just magical.
My favorite scene in this
Maybe he
is Bernie Mac and the car salesman.
Yeah.
I love the way that goes down, and just when he's snapping his fingers and stuff like it was just so well done. And Bernie Mac just deadpan the whole time, and he's squeezing that guy's hand, and the guy's like at the end, his hand is all red. It was just great. Ended up getting $2,000 off for that, $2,500 off for the bands. Just a small bit part, and I loved it.
Well, and that was the fun thing about the Bernie Mac character is you wondered how they were going to use him, and it was just those little things, Yeah. Great movie and highly recommended.
That scene, Rich, that actor that was getting his hand squeezed, he's the actor that they smashed his hand with a hammer in Casino because he was stealing. So I mean, that guy's got bad luck with hands.
Or he's got strong hands. God, whack it. No problem.
There's a lot.
I hope at some point Marky Mark watches our show and he comes on, and because he has said here, Wahlberg can do anything and make it work.
Yeah. He's got to do it shirtless though.
No.
That's what Lando wants.
Are you talking about Craig doing it shirtless or Marky Mark?
No, Marky Mark. I can't believe he said no to a shirtless Marky Mark. Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of Marky Mark. I'm really not. I like him behind the camera. Like, I loved, what was that show he did on HBO? Entourage. I loved that. I think I probably watched every episode. It was really a good show. But
they had go ahead.
I'm saying I liked him when I was younger, but I think he just kind of rubs me the wrong way now.
He kind of rubs you? What?
He's an asshole. I don't like those guys. Massholes.
Yeah, we suck.
Best people in the world were Massachusetts.
Yeah. Not the politicians.
He lives in Nevada now. He lives in Nevada now. He bought a place over here. All the cool people live in Nevada.
Go the wrong way. You can have him. I'll let him be your boyfriend, Linda. I want no part of it.
He could be my sugar daddy.
What's that?
Anyway, so let's move it on.
I said, let's rate it.
Oh, we're rating? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this is a 5.
Big guy?
I'll give it a 4.5.
Yeah, me too.
Solid.
I'm going to give it a 4.5 too. Just a little bit under perfect.
Yeah.
But it's a movie I will watch again. I do like it.
It's a treat. This movie's kind of a treat, Whoa, I'm dizzy now. That's more than I moved all day.
So let me ask y'all a quick intermediate question. Each of the movies that we watched this week present con artists in a way that makes them charismatic and even admirable. Why do you think audiences love watching con movies despite their criminal nature?
Because these people, these con artists, they're never conning an old lady. They're never stealing a kid's lollipop. They're doing it to bad people. If this was a TV show about them conning some people in like an old folks home out of their pensions, then they're the bad guys. And they actually did do a movie like that. I cannot remember the name of it, but it was actually based on a true story. And it was a woman that was running a con where she would get older people put into homes and then sell all their stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
I can't remember the name of the film, but it's cruel and vicious what they did to these people. And so you end up hating her And the opposite of that is when you can watch somebody do exactly what she did, but to a really rich and powerful sort of bad guy, like Terry Benedict, then yeah, it's absolutely worth it. That's what I think.
So the question is the con about showing Julia Roberts who Terry Benedict really is, or is it about the money?
No, it showed her that he was a bastard. He didn't really care about her, or that's what she thought when she was watching him say what he said.
Yeah.
I think she was on the edge too of she was happy but not really happy with him, it's like, you've gone out with somebody that you like but you don't like them,
It looks good on paper, is what we say.
Yeah.
They look
Yeah.
good on paper. They check all the boxes, but I just don't feel it.
Yeah, there's something that just doesn't,
Feel right.
jive. Yeah. No, I agree
All
with
right,
everything
who's
Rich
next?
said.
All right. So what's next?
Catch
Oh,
me if you
I'll-
can.
Yeah, because
Go
we'll save
for
the
it.
classic for last. 2002 Steven Spielberg movie about Frank Abagnale Jr. He was 17 years old. He became a con man, right? Forging bad checks, posing as an airline pilot, doctor, an attorney. Now, this guy is kind of the opposite of the Clooney characters in a way, because he scammed everybody. It didn't matter really. And this is a typical Spielberg movie. Uh, it's entertaining. A lot of nostalgia thrown in. I love the 60s look of it. That part was really fun for me. You had Tom Hanks as the FBI agent that was chasing after Frank Abagnale, who we thought was a criminal named Barry Allen, the Flash. I enjoyed this movie. Um, as years go by, though, Tom Hanks, to me, I realize what a great actor he is, because he you're like, hey, he's a really nice guy. He's a good guy, but he's acting. And when I used to watch, what's that one show he had where he was in a hotel and drag? Because it's a
Bosom
woman's
Buddies.
Bosom
hotel.
Buddies.
Yeah. And Bachelor Party and some of the other movies he made around there. I thought, man, I dig Tom Hanks. I'm not a fan of his anymore. I think he's a good actor. I will watch Saving Private Ryan, you know, but watching this one, it was really hard this time with his character. I had a hard time, and I know it's stupid, but I really had a hard time with him in it. I don't know why. This is an entertaining movie. Christopher Walken is awesome in this. You feel this character. He's a minor. He's a business owner, but he's kind of a minor con man. He embellishes his life. And what's his name? Leonardo DiCaprio plays Frank Abagnale Jr.'s son, who idolizes his dad. He idolizes his dad, and he finally sees his dad for what he is. But he's always trying to get his dad's approval, his love, everything. And that part I really liked in this. And the cons were entertaining. It was neat the way he did stuff. There's a lot of actresses in here: Amy Adams, Jennifer Garner, that are just tiny roles. Uh, Martin Sheen has a little bit of a role in it. Christopher Walken, I think, steals the show in this. He ends up a broken man, and I don't know. I really liked his part in this. And the thing that gets me about this movie is it's all bullshit. It's all bull crap. The guy Frank Abagnale Jr., the guy that actually did this movie, I mean, it's based on his life. He wrote some of the screenplay and everything, but most of it's been debunked. Basically, he posed as an airline pilot. He did pose as a doctor, but most of it's bull crap. He wrote bad checks. He's able to figure out how to forge checks. He got really brilliant on that, and that's what happened with him. It's an entertaining movie. It's your average Steven Spielberg. I don't know how you would drama, comedy, like when Tom Hanks was living in that airport. It's enjoyable for what it is. What do you guys think? I didn't hate rewatching this, because I'd seen it years ago. I didn't hate it rewatching it, but
I understand exactly what you mean. Certain things have come to light about Tom Hanks recently, his personal life, and so it was also a difficult watch for me for that very reason. And I don't think that's stupid, especially now that I know, I'm not the only one. Uh, it was tricky for me for that, but I was able to put it aside and watch the film and get through it because honestly, Leonardo DiCaprio did excellent in this film.
yeah, he did.
He was everything he needed to be, like you said, Alan. His excuse me, his love for his dad and his idolization of a man that was just kind of a dick was it just led to the person that he was, to the man that he became. And I also think he kind of, at least the character in the film, he kind of lost his mind a little. He kind of got really into himself, and then he's like, to me, it almost looked like he thought the FBI agent that was chasing him was his friend.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, we'll be buddies and pals, and Tom Hanks just wanted to put him in prison. Or Tom Hanks' character, I should say. So it was. I thought they did well, but you're right when you say Christopher Walken. Pretty much anything he's in, he steals anyway. It's just that's the nature of Christopher Walken, and this was no different. He was just a dirtbag, I guess he loved his kid, but he was kind of a dirtbag about it. Just the way they lived and what he did to get money. I don't know. But Leonardo DiCaprio, I think this is one of his better roles because he's an adult playing a kid, and that kid, like I said, that kid just kind of loses his mind over time. And some of the stuff he did in the film was just a little bit over the top. But security wasn't like it is now back then. Security was very lax compared to what it is now. They weren't using planes as weapons and smuggling stuff in, or not nearly as much. But yeah, I liked it. It's not a movie I'll probably watch for a little while. I might watch it again before I die, unless I die tomorrow. But I'm not gonna put that at the top. So, yeah. Hey, look who showed up.
Okay, Jen. So what do you think, Hattie?
This is not probably a popular answer. I did not like this movie the first time I saw it, and I didn't like it the second. It doesn't have anything to do with the acting, but I feel like it makes women look stupid and gullible in a way in which it's like every woman this guy met wanted to sleep with him. I mean, really?
It was Leo.
It is Leo. I did notice that the girls did keep getting younger, but we can talk about Christopher Walken for a minute and say, he steals the show. Leonardo's good Leonardo's good in everything he does. Tom Hanks is good. I did not like the Tom Hanks character. Again, like I think Rich pointed it out, he just wants to. My interpretation, which is my opinion, so no one throw apples or anything at me, is he's jealous. He has a jealousy over this kid and this life that he's living, and that he's able to just play act into these roles of these other people. And, he's got the women, he's got the money, he's got the job, he's just skating by, and this guy, meanwhile, is probably making minimum wage as an FBI agent. I'm sure he's making more than that. But, he's having trouble with his wife, who probably didn't like him being gone, and et cetera, et cetera. Then he loses the wife, and he's constantly getting more bitter. And that rage is focusing on this kid and on this endless pursuit. It was not fun. Again, like I said, the kid is manipulating and taking advantage of people's kindness and generosity. And it's not robbing from the rich, it doesn't have that aspect of it to me. So this was great for me. Like I said, I just didn't like it. So it did have some great from a number of women, and I'm sure they all love being hugged up with Leonardo. So, yay.
They're all too old for him now.
They're probably too old.
Right.
Too old for him back then.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I think that the cat and mouse relationship between Frank and Carl, was that Tom Hanks' character, was compelling because, Leonardo's little kid-like perspective was that it was all in good fun. He didn't seem to grasp that there were consequences to his actions.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but look at all the people he's hurting. Look at all the people he was hurting. So
yeah, that's the the difference between Ocean's 11 and this one. And he ripped people off. I mean, that was just his. Yeah. I mean, look at all the places he wrote at the beginning when he was first struggling that he wrote the bad checks to, and he had to keep bouncing around, and some of the tellers that he, would get in trouble, especially back then for taking a check, like that.
Well, and the thing is, the kid, you go back to, he's just a kid. He doesn't know any better. And you see all of that in the scene with him and that little girl with the braces that he sleeps with, and she's telling him that her parents disowned her, and he just wants to make that better. He just wants to make that better for her.
Yeah.
And you see in that moment, he really is this earnest child and it's like, so what can he do for the dad to like him? Well, he'll be a lawyer. He'll go to the same law school. And, that's how he gets accepted. But at the same time, what are the consequences?
Yeah. No, definitely. And the way the checking system is introduced to him is like this magical world. He's what, like 16, 15, 16. And it's like, the way Christopher Walken introduces it to him, you're like in the club now, son, and he's like, whoa, I can write checks as long as I've got money, as long as I have checks in the book.
I have friends who thought that for a while too.
Yeah. No, that's fair. There was entertaining parts in it. The acting was good. Spielberg generally produces a good product to watch. But like, I have a hard time with Hanks anymore.
I don't even know what y'all are talking about. We'll have to talk about it after the show because I really don't know.
Yeah, it's not something we should bring up here anyway.
Yeah. And I he was one of my favorite actors. Just kind of.
Well, we'll talk about it after the show, but I'm dying to know. But
it's not nothing big. It's just, Anyway, do you have questions for us, boss?
Well, yeah. I mean, my questions were, okay, let's see. How do you think this film balances fact and fiction for entertainment purposes?
Alan?
I think it's mostly fiction. What came out is like 70% of what he is claiming is BS. What he claimed to do was BS. So I think I look at this as really just a fiction movie, a lot of it.
Okay, so I'm guessing that the forgery was real.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did some time for that.
He must have been pretty good at it.
He was.
So was the portion about the FBI coming to him about fake checks real? Because that actually is something they would do.
Yeah, I believe
I
that
don't
he
know
did
that
that.
much about it.
I didn't delve too much into, because I've read before that a lot of the stuff that he had claimed was, because he even, he wrote a book about it and everything, was BS. But I do believe I read somewhere he did work for the FBI and did do that stuff. But I think some of the bigger claims, the way he did the air live and stuff like that, I think a lot of that was overblown and some of it didn't happen. So
Well,
I need
Frank's
to read
ability
more
to
into it.
forge the identities was impressive. So, do you think his success says more about his intelligence or flaws of the systems?
Well, both. He was able to use his intelligence to exploit those flaws. Uh, Honestly, when you look at what he did, other than the check writing, well, I mean, with the planes and faking being a doctor, he looks like a hero to some people, but he's not. He was a bad guy, and he was harming a lot of people, taking money from people who couldn't afford it. So he was a bastard. Uh, yeah. Anyway, there we go.
And he was in an era where pilots were like, ooh, I mean,
Yeah, they're
it's,
rock stars.
I'm not taking anything away from, because that's a hell of a skill. But back then, they were revered like doctors. People were like, oh, you're a doctor, you can do no wrong. Oh, you're a pilot. Oh my gosh. You showed them, let me have your autograph. That's how they looked at them at those careers at that time. Now Rich is a pilot. Can I get your autograph, Rich? Thank you,
Absolutely,
sir.
you have my autograph.
I
It's in
do
a
have
book
your
someplace.
autograph. But you didn't put pilot. So I think it was easier for him to do that at that time because it was a different time different era than it is now. Thank God.
Yeah, for sure. You got any more questions?
Well, I was going to say that, I think we already discussed for stability and belonging. Do you think at the end that he ever found it, or do you think he's still looking? Or is he dead?
I don't know if he's still alive, but I think he made peace with himself. I think he knew that the things he did were bad things. I just don't know if he
Yeah.
cared about it. I think that when he was a younger, well, insofar as the film, I think that the Leonardo DiCaprio character didn't think he was doing anything wrong. I mean, he knew it was illegal, but he didn't think that it was a bad thing to do. And then I think likely after prison, that would have come around and slapped him right in the face, and he would have, wow, I really did steal from honest people. So, and it's
He
one
is
thing,
still alive.
yeah,
Sorry, Rich.
it's one thing to steal from billionaires or millionaires. It's something else to steal from people who can't afford to be stolen from. Either way, it's
Yeah.
wrong. But in one way, it hurts someone a lot, and another way, it's no big deal.
He worked for the FBI for 40 years,
He really did.
lectured at the FBI Academy and field offices. So hopefully, like you said, Rich, that but he's got a family. He had a family since 76. So
That's good. Well, you know what? If he's working, well, I guess we shouldn't go there either. If he did work for the
yeah.
FBI, then back when the FBI was the FBI, when he
Yeah.
worked for them, I guess he was doing good. So anyway, moving on. What are we rating this one?
Hold on, I might have one more question.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right, and I want everybody to know that they can answer these too in the chat. So, a great con relies on deception, misdirection, and confidence. How does this film uniquely showcase these elements?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah,
Hold on, let me find my screen again. A great con relies on deception, misdirection, and confidence. How does this film uniquely showcase these elements?
Well, everything about him was misdirection and confidence. He he misdirected everyone into believing that he was someone he wasn't, and that's what a confidence man does. So
Look at that. Look at where he Tom Hanks was going to arrest him in that hotel room, and he was able to misdirect Tom Hanks into actually leaving the room, or him being able to leave the room with some of his stuff. Yeah.
All right. All right, well, let's head on over to the sting, Mr. Restucci.
just 1 second. Craig, your comment here, he has, well, that was weird. Sounded like something just hit the house. Thought I was just hearing things. My son came down just a minute ago and he's like, did you hear that bang? So I actually didn't hear it, but he said, was that you? I said, no, it wasn't me.
It's not the Rockets. The Rockets were earlier.
Yeah, maybe. Rockets. So the Sting. It's 1936. The only things prevalent are prohibition, poverty, and the grift. It's the Great Depression. This is a story about revenge, but in confidence caper form. Robert Redford plays Hooker, a low-end but very talented con man in New York, whose best friend is Luther, played by Darth Vader's dad, has been murdered by Doyle Lonigan, an Irish mobster out of Chicago, played by Robert Shaw. Hooker flees to Chicago to find Henry Gondorff, played by the inimitable Paul Newman, who's a high-end con man down on his luck. A little loud. Let's see, where was it? Okay, the two hatch a plan to rid Lonigan of a fortune on the ponies, hiring a few dozen other grifters through the Grifter Network. The entire movie is set up, of the con, is the setup of the con, while Hooker tries to evade the Irish mob, an Italian hitman, a corrupt cop played by Charles Durning, and the FBI. The con goes deep as Lonigan is a suspicious and vile man and wants to see every aspect of the betting scheme he's starting to fall for. The grift is set up, betting room, gin joint, complete with teletype and bar. Like most good caper films, this one ends with a bang, and the bang is worth it. It's a memorable bang. The film is set up in chapters with the title of each chapter a colored page reminiscent of the Saturday Evening Post. I thought that was really cool. Cinematography is also fantastic, showing the trash-strewn streets of Depression-era cities. The only thing better than the costumes and the cinematography is the acting of Redford, Newman, Shaw, and the rest. And there are plenty, like Dana Elcott, Eileen Brennan, Ray Walston, Jack Keogh, Harold Gould. There's so many, and there's much more than that. Like the guy that played Floyd, I can't remember his name, but he was in everything in this stuff. Played that same character. This thing was a box office smash, grossing more than $150 million in the States alone and pulling home 7 Oscars, including Best Picture. Redford lost the Best Actor Oscar to Marlon Brando for The Godfather in 1973. So that should tell you something about this film.
Yeah.
Some interesting facts about the movie is that Robert Earl Jones, father of James Earl Jones, played Luther. There were no extras in the film. Director Roy Hill had noticed this about 1930s gangster films and wanted the Sting to look authentic, so he didn't hire any extras. Jack Nicholson turned down the lead role, and Robert Shaw's limp was authentic, as he injured his leg playing handball immediately prior to the start of the film. Most of the movies I watched as a kid were with my dad, and honestly, I missed that. But this film was one where my mom, who's not really a movie lover, she'd come and sit with us, and she enjoyed it as well. I watch this one every few years, and I'll probably cut that down to once a year, as this flick, it kind of sits up near the top for me. I should also mention it holds up, too, and I enjoyed every second of watching it this time. What did you guys think? I know you love it. Everybody loves it, but tell me you loved it.
This was my favorite movie of the week.
Okay. Thanks for coming. Great show. Anything else?
I got questions.
Okay. Well, should we let Alan go first?
Yes.
This movie, you could not get away from Marvin Hamlish's theme song to this movie. Was it The Entertainer? Is that what it was? Or back? You could not get away from that. I remember as a kid that was on the radio all the time. I mean, it must have been in the top 100 forever. I saw this at the drive-in with my folks, because my folks are big drive-in people. I mean, they go see crap like Shampoo, and I'd be in the back, and they'd be like, "Okay, don't watch this movie, Alan. Play with your toys," and I'm like, "What's something to do without a top on?" But anyway, I saw this at the movies at the drive-in. And I didn't really get it because I was pretty young when it came out. Believe it or not, I wasn't this old. I watched it again years ago because I'd only seen it once before, and I didn't know if I enjoyed it or not. And I loved it. Watched it again, and I loved it again. Newman, Redford, their chemistry is so good together. Butch Cassidy and Sundance. I mean, those guys, they should have made more movies together. They're great. They
Yeah.
were paid $500,000 a piece
Yeah.
to be in this movie, and at that time, it would equal out to about $3 million right now. So, I mean, they made quite a bit of money, and it was like you said, Rich. The cast in this, man, Charles Durning, the guy's name that played Floyd or Lloyd. What? I can't think of
Floyd,
his name.
yeah.
You can remember Charles Deercop. He was in every. You're right. He was in Anyway. He was one of the biker gang in Anyway, but Loose with Clint
Yeah.
Eastwood. Just a great cast, man. And people that were in '80s movies and TV shows and stuff. I love this one. The twist in it was great. Um, the way it was filmed, and I think it was directed by Walter Hill, I think, or George Roy Hill. He did a lot of great flicks
Yeah.
too. A lot of good gunfight flicks too. Um, this one, if you haven't seen it, even though it's an old movie, it's worth seeing. It's one of those movies that would be neat to see if they re-released it to the movie theaters like they do with a lot of films and watch it that way on the big screen. It's just a fun. It's one of those reasons you go to the movies. It's one of those kind of movies. That's why you go to the movies, to see something like this played out. It's just a master class of a movie, and that's all I got.
I would go see this at the movies. This is one of those movies that I would definitely pull a little cake and go see it at the big screen. And there's not a lot of movies that I would say that about. Aliens, Jaws, that type of thing. But this is just it's its own movie. It's its own type of thing, and it was one of the first of the real grifter films. I guess Ocean's 11 was before it, but the original Ocean's 11. But this one was it's the movie that all the other grifter films are based off of. They steal so
Yeah.
much stuff and ideas and turning things that again you're conning the viewer. So I thought it was great.
What's sad is with the sequel. They made the sequel with Jackie Gleason and Mac Davis. Love Mac Davis. Mac Davis is a good side character, but you can't follow Redford and Newman with Jackie Gleason and Mac Davis.
Yeah.
That was I saw that one, and it's an okay movie. It's got Terry Garr in it, which is makes the movie worth it. But I don't recommend The Sting 2. It's just Jackie Gleason's no Paul Newman.
Just I can't remember it. I can't remember the film.
You blacked it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know I've seen it, and I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
so
good, but not classic.
what makes this movie is the dynamic between Newman and Redford. It's part of the key charm. And I guess to me, it's also something that's reminiscent of what we saw with Clooney and Brad Pitt. And people tune in to watch that dynamic.
Yeah.
So Joel Monaghan is a ruthless antagonist. How do you feel like his personality and arrogance made him the perfect mark?
Well, just what you said. His arrogance and Robert Shaw, it was great, and he was perfect in that role.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, Fala. Yeah, he was. I think this is probably his second best role. Of course, I'm a big Quint fan, and I love Force 10 from Navarone. Nobody else does. I love that movie. But Robert Shaw was a bastard. He would win by cheating. He felt he was superior to everyone else. And he was just, I think he was cruel as well. He didn't have a problem killing people. Money was more of a science to him than a necessity, but he liked it. So he liked his money. And he was a card cheater, and then he got out cheated and he knew he got out cheated by Paul Newman on the train. So it was really good. And the only reason he was there, he was getting grifted in the first place, was because he was trying to put Paul Newman out of business, and then he just would have killed Robert Redford and taken it all over anyway. Yeah. So he was not a good person. And that's, again, going back to your other question from Ocean's 11, Hadley, that's why people like these movies, is because the bad guy gets it in the end. And he didn't get killed. There was no death for him. He just got screwed, out of a lot of money.
So the Great Depression seemed to add another layer to the story. How do you feel like the time period influenced the motivations of the characters?
Survival, basically. Good to have money back then, be able to buy eggs.
Yeah, right. I think I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Richard. Go ahead.
I think the 30s or the 20s and the 30s, when you're looking at Prohibition and the birth of the real gangster, I think that's when the grift was really perfected. And there were con men in ancient Egypt, but the con for the United States was really defined back then, because the big con was to con one of those gangsters and have them not know about it. The problem with that is when they did find out about it, everybody involved in the con was killed. They were murdered. So it was a very dangerous thing to do. And that's another reason that people like watching these movies, is because the danger is significant, but the risk is sometimes worth the reward, unless, of course, you get caught, and then it's not. So, yeah, well, there we go. This is one of my favorite all-time movies. Top 50 for me, I think.
It is a good flick, yeah. Definitely.
So it ages. All three movies, and made the perfect heist crew, who would be on it?
All three movies.
Yeah,
Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
Definitely Redford, Newman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Clooney and Pitt.
Clooney.
I put them in there.
All of them.
Yeah.
Except Tom Hanks.
Well, he was a cop. Charles Durning was a cop too. Even Dana Elcar, he played the FBI agent, and he was part of the con.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right.
Charles Durning was awesome.
I'm off next week, and the boys are going to do one without me, so we're going to skip our schedule, and y'all are going to pull one from later this year, aren't you?
Yeah, we're going to do the Gorge.
Yeah.
No. Cannot do something.
I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
So, are y'all going to get Muga to join y'all? Or y'all find somebody to co-host, or what's?
We'll figure it out. Yeah, we can do with 3 if we have to. I mean, 3 movies, 3 people. That's good.
Oh yeah, there we go. We'll just do a threesome.
Okay, well, so I put.
You want to do a threesome with me and Scott, buddy? I don't think so.
So the movies that I have scheduled for next week are Logan's Run, Fahrenheit 451, and Children of Men.
We can do those. Let's do those.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's what y'all are doing.
That's what we're doing. We'll do it.
Yeah, let's do
Scott will love Logan's Run.
Yeah.
I love Logan's Run.
Yeah, it's anyway. A good flick.
I'm glad I'm spared.
That's why she's not showing up.
No.
The Logan's Run TV series?
For work. I don't know what time I'll be home yet. So yeah, it's going to be a long day in the driving seat. So, all right.
Well, what are we going to rate this movie? We didn't rate The Sting.
Oh.
I think
I'll
it's
give it a 5.
5.
5.
What happened? Did we all give it a 5?
Yeah, I'll give it a 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Craig, the old one. The old Logan's run with Michael York and Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah.
All right, kids. You know what to do. Same time, same bat channel next week.
Thank you for coming.
All right, Weirdlings, that's all for watching Weird this week. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, the strange and unusual never sleeps. Well, except for maybe on Thursdays. Speaking of sleep schedules, here's a quick reminder about our other shows. Dive into the mysteries of the mind with Weird Awakenings every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Cozy up with Blondes, books and campfire tales for spooky stories every other Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Hone your craft and connect with fellow writers on Write With Me on the third Sunday of each month. And don't forget, Watching Weird now airs live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For all things weird, find us on social media via Linktree in the description below, or visit our website at weirdrealities.net. Stay weird.
We are weird.
What was the third movie? Logan's Run.
Live. We're still live.
That's okay.
No.